What would it be like to be integral in helping a company build $1 billion business and then watching that business evaporate almost overnight? Well, that's what happened to my guest today, Marco Torres, who helped a company in a real estate business go to $1 billion in sales, and then the crash of 2008 took it all away. What did he do? Well, he licked his wounds, got back up on the horse, and built a marketing company and several other companies since that help entrepreneurs with their marketing. He's been doing internet marketing since 1996. I gotta be honest, I didn't realize the internet was around in 1996, but he was marketing through email and on pay-per-click ads and all that back in 96 and has been doing so ever since. So he's a true expert, and he's gonna talk about value add incentives to get customers versus lowering your price and lowering your margin. So there's a lot of great nuggets to take away from this. I gotta tell you, he's a straight shooter, says it like it is, and I really appreciate that about him because there's no filter. Let's go. Marco is the founder of MarketingBoost.com, and he's helped thousands of business owners worldwide boost sales and scale their businesses by as much as 5-fold through the use of incentive-based marketing. And we'll talk about that today. He teaches entrepreneurs how to drive revenue through the use of value-add incentives instead of discounts and lowering your price. And I'm a big fan of value add versus lowering your price. Marco is a serial entrepreneur, having started his first business at the age of 9 and has since built and scaled numerous businesses. Marco, welcome to the ThriveMore podcast. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh.
Pleasure to be here, Roger.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. And I love just the fact we're going to talk about value add incentives and incentive marketing because it's something I preach to my network of franchisees that I have. So before we get there, your story's a little different. You were born in San Antonio, and then shortly thereafter that, your father's job required to move to San Juan, Puerto Rico. And I would love to know, just like, what was that experience like? Growing, being born in Texas, but then picking up and moving to San Juan and living in, another country, so to speak.
Yeah, it pretty much was at the time. And for many, it still is, right? It's 2,000 miles south in a little island. It was actually really cool growing up there. I mean, when I first got there, it wasn't. I mean, I went to mostly Spanish-speaking school when I got there. There were a few people that were, Americans. I was picked on a lot for being different from the rest of them and what have you. And so I had to learn how to fight my way out of some issues here and there. Yeah. But overall, it was, one of the best experiences. I couldn't imagine growing up anywhere else. It was really cool. Yeah. You hear so much about racism in America and this, that, and the other. Where I grew up, it didn't exist at all. Everybody was a mix of white, brown, black. The Puerto Rican environment, there was, yeah, sure, we'd pick on each other, but it wasn't. It was never about race. It was because everybody's a mix of something on the islands. And so that part was cool growing up there. And then surfing in high school and playing on the beach and really all the way through school, I chose not to, even though I'm Mexican descendants, I chose not to learn to speak Spanish because it was too cool to be gringo over there. No, really. I mean, we could go to the resorts and some other American friends of mine. We could walk in and look like tourists and hang out at the pool with the tourist girls and be jumping out the diving boards and all. As long as we look like the rest of them, we could get.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It was too much fun. But anyway, growing up in Puerto Rico was amazing.
That is funny. Oh, I love it. I remember I've actually worked down there. Long time ago in previous lives in the pharmaceutical business, because as you know, there's so many pharmaceutical companies that do business down there. And I was at the Marriott on the beach, but I remember after dinner I went into the casino because they have casinos available in the hotels there, and I was playing craps. And I remember they called out hard ocho. I'm like, okay, I've never played craps where the numbers are being called out in Spanish. Siete out. Oh, okay. I think that means I just lost. Yeah.
Yeah. I learned to play craps there too when I grew up. That's my favorite game in the casino anyway.
Yeah. So if you could, you cite a spirit for adventure and entrepreneurship due to really growing up in those different surroundings. How did that inspire you to start your entrepreneurial journey at literally 9 years of age?
Well, my father was one. who never give a handout. There was no monthly allowance, weekly or monthly allowance in my household. And so I wanted a Schwinn bike way back when. And my dad said to me, well, you can wait till Christmas or your birthday and maybe you'll get the Schwinn, or you can, make the money and buy it yourself. And I go, well, how do I do that? And he goes, well, one idea is get a paper route.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to do that. So, I mean, one of the things he did was, kind of guide me, but it was a real business back then. I had to run those big manual green spreadsheets with all the columns on it, like an Excel, but it was on paper. And, I had to write down, well, first I had to go solicit subscribers door to door. Then I had to deliver the papers in the morning. And then I had to go back. In those days, there was no online payment. You had to go back and collect the money they owed you for the papers. So it was a big deal. Eventually, by age 12, I was featured on the front page of the newspaper as having built the biggest paper route they'd ever seen. And one of the lessons I learned way back when, I didn't even know it was a lesson I was learning at the time, but was leveraging my network, my friends. I had my friends join me to help me deliver the papers in the morning while I focused mostly on door knocking and selling subscriptions and collecting the money, which is my favorite part. And so it turned into a huge route. And, I eventually sold the route. I don't remember for how much, but sold it so that I could focus on pee wee and high school football. So, but yeah, that was a great experience as well. And that back then, I was just reading a book the other day called The Rum Diaries with Johnny Depp, and it's all about the San Juan Star, the newspaper that I was building the route for. So it's kind of cool. A good movie to go watch. The Rum Diaries, all about the development of Puerto Rico in the days that it was all those companies, all those pharmaceutical companies, and what have you, were running to Puerto Rico for tax breaks.
Yeah. I cannot tell you how many successful entrepreneurs I have interviewed on this show that started with a paper route. And unfortunately, paper routes really don't exist like the way they used to. But there is something about the fact you had to go out and build a business. You actually had to go out and solicit customers and sell customers. As you said, then you had to fulfill the service, and then you had to do collections, which is really a full service business. I got to sell it, I got to fulfill it, I got to get paid for it.
And back then, you're right. I mean, it was a great way for kids, young boys and girls, what have you, to go out and learn at a very early age how to build a business, and the excitement of earning your own money and then saving and spending and what have you, which today, sadly, there's really not very many ways for children or young youth to be able to have that similar experience.
Yeah, for sure. So you've owned and operated various companies and in various industries, as I did some research. That includes restaurants, nightclubs, travel services. Then we get into specifically your marketing advisory firm. But talk to me just a little bit about restaurants, nightclubs, travel services, because that's very different than MarketingBoost and value added, or maybe it's not, but I would love.
They're very different. Well, I got into the restaurant business because I didn't want to continue in college. Mm-hmm. So I realized I'm not a very good student, didn't like being taught stuff that I didn't have any motivation to learn. I've become since then, once I got into business, then learning became a whole new enlightenment, that there was a reason behind what I needed to learn. And then it became fun to learn. But when I was in college and high school, everything else, forget about it. School was not for me. And I just really couldn't ever wrap my head around it. But anyway, I decided I didn't want to go to college, dropped out, and convinced my older brother, who had completed college, and my mother, who was Mexican and could cook amazing Mexican food. So let's open a Mexican restaurant. And my dad, who was in finance with General Electric Credit, he was like, oh, wonderful idea you guys have, but none of you know how to run a restaurant, work a restaurant, or anything about a restaurant. So if you're serious, go prove it. And so here's another lesson for anybody listening about opening a business. Don't just run with your dream and do it. And, hopefully you'll learn along the way. It could be very expensive. So what my dad suggested, we went to live with my uncle back in San Antonio, my older brother and I, and we went to work for a bunch of Mexican restaurants. and we would work the midnight shifts. We'd go in there with those little Kodak cameras, and we were taking, we could work when nobody else wanted to, so we'd be nearly alone, if not alone, and mopping the floors in the middle of the night. But we were taking pictures of everything: what equipment they use, what did the stainless steel countertops, what was the layout and design look like, what was the, what equipment, what were the inventory forms look like, what was the, everything. We were taking pictures and learning everything we could, working day shifts, night shifts, etc. And essentially we were funnel hacking before there was such a thing. So today there's entire conventions on funnel hacking. Learn from the successes of others. Well, we were doing that in the restaurant, but instead of buying a franchise back then, it was about $125,000 minimum for a fast food franchise. We skipped that and said, we'll learn it ourselves. And we came back and we opened a restaurant. And before we knew it, we had 5 restaurants in 5 years. Wow. And then I bounced off from that family business to open my own nightclub at age 23, and ran that for several years, as well as the restaurants. And eventually we sold the restaurants to Taco Bell several of them, when they came on to the island of Puerto Rico. They wanted our food court locations in the major malls. Mm-hmm. So we got out at the right time, and I sold my nightclub as well. And I moved to Florida, where I didn't want to have anything to do with the restaurants anymore. I was like completely burnt out on what it takes to run a restaurant. Sure. And, you really have to love people. And after a bunch of years attending clients in the restaurant business, I realized, I don't love people that much to keep doing this. But, and today that's changed my attitude. But for a while, it's such a hard business and such low margins that, then you get the complainers and whatever, man, it was hard.
Real quickly, on the nightclub, because to me, that is a fascinating business. And it's a business from a layperson's perspective that I've watched, that it's great to open them. And especially if you're a good marketing person, good hype person, and there's a lot of money to be made, but people like to go to the newest, best, latest nightclub. And so what I've seen entrepreneurs get them going, get them really flourishing, and then sell it before the next one comes out. Is that kind of the industry?
It still is. That's what it was in my day. It still is today. It's a fickle audience. You have 3 to 5 years max, pretty much, before you're going to need to sell or shut down, revamp, come up with a new look and feel, new branding, new name, and keep going. Rare is it that a nightclub, or back then disco type of thing, it would go on for years, because there's always going to be something new and something that the youth that typically, and it's a young man's business, to tell you the truth. My last call was 7 a.m. I couldn't do that today. So.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
And another business that you're dealing with people and with drunks and with everything else, and so another reason to burn out on the customer service side of the food and beverage business. At the end of the day, I did love it, but I wouldn't do it anymore.
Sure. No, that gives you wisdom. So how do you go from that to really wrapping your personal brand, your living around this value add incentive marketing? And you've got MarketingBoost.com, and what took you from restaurants, nightclubs, even some of the travel services, to morphing this into what you do today?
Sure. Well, I got into when I moved to Florida, again, I didn't want anything to do with restaurants, so I got into all kinds of looking for the right sales opportunity. Again, since I didn't have that college degree, I wasn't going to go be a lawyer, a doctor, so I had to go find, what pays the most? Sales. And so I chased down some of the best sales jobs and made a great living in sales. And then I realized I'm only as good as my last sale when you're a salesman. And, I kept thinking, if I could I needed, and then I got bored with the quality of the prospects I was talking to. So I wanted to get involved in the marketing side. I wanted better prospects and leads to be speaking to. And so the company I was working for as a salesman, I went to the management with ideas. Hey, I want to do this. I want to do that. Can we try this marketing idea? I want to speak to more Latinos. At the time, I did become bilingual, and I wanted to speak to the Colombians, the Brazilians, the what have you. And they're like, you know what? Shut up and go love the one you're with. They gave me the sales. You're a salesman. You're not a marketer. We have a marketing team for that. Well, I didn't take no for an answer. And I sold went and met with the owner of the entire company I was with, that I had these marketing ideas, et cetera. I managed to cut a deal. Long story short, I built my own marketing team. And then I had my own sales line, and we ended up, having a huge success. But I became an internet marketer back in 1996. During this process of trying to develop my own new prospects, I was a very early adapter of online marketing and internet marketing and email marketing. And back in 1996, I got started at it. By in the year or two, I was good at it. By the year 2000, I sold my services to a big company in Orlando that I wanted to pitch them on me running their internet marketing strategies. I took over their entire internet marketing operations in the year 2000 and generated, by the year 2008, over almost $1 billion in online sales for them.
Wow.
That ended in 2008. It was faster than you can drop a hat.
No.
But back then, the internet was actually, they weren't on online sales. They were telephone sales. People in the early days of the internet did not trust buying anything online.
You're right.
They wanted to pick up the phone and call somebody. So we had huge call centers, 2,000 telemarketers that worked under my, and I was feeding them the leads, the inbound calls, and the whole machine. And 2008 crash came, and basically I ended up having to lay off all 2,000 people practically. And then I got fired, and then found myself scrambling to reinvent myself in my mid 40s. Thought I was doing great before 2008. Lived next door to Tiger Woods, and or not next door, but in the same hood as Tiger Woods in Orlando, Florida. And next thing I know, I'm out of a job, out of a business. I also had a business that was failing. I jokingly laugh today and say, boy, 2008, 2009 were some of the best sales years of my life. I sold my house. I sold my cars. I sold my motorcycle. I sold my boat. I had to sell my furniture, my jewelry. It got ugly.
This segment is sponsored by Rockbox Fitness Franchising. Take control of your destiny and join the boutique fitness revolution with Rockbox Fitness. If you're ready to make a real impact in your community and own your own business that empowers people to achieve their best life, then Rockbox is the opportunity you've been looking for. They provide comprehensive support from site selection, upfit, training, and turnkey marketing, so you can open your studio with confidence and a strong recurring revenue member base. Visit rockboxfitness.com and click on franchise opportunities to learn more about this exciting venture in the fast-growing boutique fitness industry. It's time to turn your passion for fitness and for business into a thriving venture. I would imagine then if that $1 billion sales run, that had to have something to do with real estate or
yes, real estate and mortgage business and so forth. Yeah, I was actually in the timeshare sales business, working for the biggest privately held developer in the world, and that lasted. It was great, but obviously that came to a dead halt. I had to reinvent myself and got into the travel business that you mentioned. So, when we talk about, I've been in the corporate world when I worked for that company, although I had my own unique relationship. It was kind of a quasi employee business owner relationship. Is when I delivered that, 200 million a year in sales, I had an upside that was very, very attractive. But, you get used to, foolishly at that age, another lesson to share with your audience is when you're making money, don't try to live up to the Joneses next door and if I could do it over again, I wouldn't be spending the kind of money that was coming in. The lifestyle was too cool. I always thought I know how to make money. It'll keep coming in. Nothing's going to happen to, always with the optimistic view that don't worry, I can make money. But suddenly it comes to a halt. And then even when it came to a halt, I figured I'm going to bounce vertically. I will land somewhere else. This is no big deal. Then a year goes by and I'm not able to find another job, and resumes going out everywhere and nothing. In the meantime, I wait too long before I started really trimming my lifestyle and expenses, and stupidly, lost a lot of what I had until eventually I pretty much lost everything. So then you start over in your mid 40s, was no fun, but thrilled today. I've built myself back way beyond what I was back then. But lessons learned, right? Today, I
Yeah.
don't have anything left. No, I'm not leveraged out on credit like I was back then. Didn't have 7 cars in the driveway on loans,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so on and so forth.
It's
So
fun. People talk about, have an abundance mindset, not a scarcity mindset. And I believe in that, but don't have an abundance mindset of, yeah, I'm going to spend all this because it'll just keep coming. Like that's where some people miss the boat today, and I think social media feeds into a lot of that. But you're right. Like have that abundance mindset, but live beneath your means. And so many people in this country can take a lesson from that.
cannot do that. And I couldn't at the time when I was young either. You just think you're invincible. But if I could share that, with any young ones out there, I mean, I kind of like live. I mean, I'm not the billionaire like that I'd like to be, but uh, Warren Buffett,
Yeah.
drives an old Cadillac, lives in the same home he's lived in forever, and that's kind of my attitude today. I live in a no big deal home, but it's paid
Yep.
for cash, and there's no
Yep.
payments. Drive an old car. I do have a nice boat, but you play with
Sure.
and make sure it's all within your affordability versus
Yep.
stretching stuff out on credit and on payments that if one hiccup in your life happens, all of that starts to crumble and fall, and the house of cards comes down, and your credit screwed up. Just unbelievable the stuff that can go downwards in a heartbeat if you're not prepared.
Yeah, I worked for Marco. I worked for a guy when I worked for private equity for a short period of time, running one of their portfolio companies. And this guy was worth, I think at the time, 8 billion. It's probably double that now. But his whole philosophy was fly your business 3 mistakes high. And what he was just saying is you can't be running it so close to the ground, so thin with a razor margin, and we were hoping for this big contract to come through. Fly that thing 3 mistakes high. So the first mistake you're fine, second mistake you're fine, even the third mistake you're still above the ground. Too many businesses, too many people running their homes and their own personal finances are 1 mistake high, and they're right into the ground, right into the ground. Yeah, yeah. So how did then? So that happens. We have the real estate meltdown in 2008, 2009. You get into travel services, but you've got this crazy great skill set in internet marketing. How does it start to then form itself and you, as you said, to use your words, rebuild yourself?
Right. Well, I got together, leveraged friends and relationships again. There was a couple of friends and guys I'd known that we were all in the similar boat with after the 2008 crash. None of us could have afforded to have hired each other, but we had powerful skill sets and background. And so gathered, grouped together. We, put together our resources and our capital and our minds, and we launched a travel company called bookvip.com. Became one of the fastest growing travel companies in North America at the time, 2010, 11, 12, 13. And that was growing, again, our marketing skills, we were doing great with that. And, but we wanted video testimonials, Roger. And this is how Marketing Boost came about kind of by accident. We were striving, thinking, man, if we were selling travel and beautiful resort destinations around the world, et cetera. And we knew if we only had video testimonials from our clients, if we had more social proof, we'd be able to leverage that into many more sales. But we couldn't get anybody to go out of their way and go that extra mile and film I mean, written reviews are nice, but if you could get video reviews, it's very powerful. And, so we knew if we had them, we would be able to grow the business even faster, but we couldn't get them. So we came up with an idea to offer a bonus vacation. Now, Roger, by the way, this method I'm going to share, we still use it today. I recommend anybody consider it. Instead of asking everybody for a testimonial or a review, here's how we did it. We would send a survey to our clients when we felt they would be at their peak of happiness, which in our case, selling travel, would be the day after they check into the hotel. So
Mm-hmm.
we'd send them an email and a text message, and we'd say, how's the hotel living up to your expectations? How has our service been so far? Can you give us a star rating of 1 to 5? Now, mind you, this is a private back and survey, not
Yep.
an online for the whole world to see. So if we did get a 1, 2, or 3, then we could jump on it and attempt to fix the problem, solve the problem, help the client in whichever way we could. Or even if we couldn't help them, it had something out of our hands from the front desk staff they didn't like or what have you, they could at least vent with us before they went and posted something negative online.
Yep.
Then if they were a 4 or 5, then we would ask those people for a testimonial and a video review. And the video review, we'd say, by the way, if you'd go the extra mile and give us a review, a video review, and film your selfie video from the pool, the beach, the bar, the restaurant, and brag about the hotel you're staying at and mention our brand, we will reward you with a bonus trip of 3 nights in your choice of Orlando or Las Vegas. And that took off like a rock. Before we knew it, we had dozens of these video testimonials coming in and then hundreds. And it was beautiful. I mean, we were leveraging that all over our Facebook, YouTube website, generating more sales. But we had to turn the campaign off because it was expensive to fulfill those 3 nights we were giving away. So then we thought, Roger, how can we keep this going so we don't have to turn this campaign off? And we went back to our hotel partners and we said, listen, we've come up with an idea. Let's be honest. Your hotels are never full year round. I mean, you've got certain special events. You're sold out. You're sold out for maybe, the holidays, peak season, what have you. But most of the year, you've got 30, 40, 50% of your rooms sitting empty, but you still have the same fixed costs, the mortgage, the front desk staff, maintenance crews, etc. If somebody checks into the hotel, your main increase in cost is the maid service. Other than that, you pretty much the same. So they agreed, and we managed to get access to 2 hotels in Orlando and Vegas, a couple of partners, to give us access to their empty rooms or what would likely be sitting empty based on certain dates. And we could go back to fulfilling and giving away complimentary trips now without costing us a bunch of money. We convinced the hotels these people are likely going to spend money at the restaurant, the bar, the casino, the gift shop, the excursion desk. They'll book extra nights. They'll order room service. You'll generate some revenue versus none. Once that clock clicks midnight, if the room sat empty, that's zero revenue. So again, we got these partners to agree. Now we were able to fulfill our own giveaways. And then we thought, man, if we could get more hotels around the world to participate, we'd have a brand new business. And that's what eventually became MarketingBoost.com today, where for a small monthly subscription, Roger, we serve small business owners, entrepreneurs around the world with the ability to have the wow, surprise, and delight factor. They can use complimentary hotel stays from 3 to 7 nights, our restaurant certificates that we offer, and hotel savings cards to enhance whatever their call to action is, to stand out from the crowd in a busy space and include bonuses, incentives to take action. So that's kind of a quick overlay of how it came about and how it works today.
Well, I love that you were solving a problem that you had in your business. And as you solved that problem, a new business was born. I mean, that's entrepreneurship. That's open the dictionary. There's the definition right there.
Right.
Entrepreneurs solve pain points, whether it's in their own business or in their customers' lives. And then what you did is you looked at, okay, how do we then scale this? So, and it sounds like because you've worked with these hotels that have excess capacity. It's a perishable item. A hotel room is a perishable item, so it must be moved or it's lost forever. Have you done anything in addition to hotel nights or anything around travel? Has Marketing Boost gone beyond, or are there plans to go beyond, hotels or
Great
leisure?
question. And we do have a new venture, a new source coming soon where we'll be providing home savings. Well, everything, furniture, anything you could use for your home. Kind of like shopping at a Costco's or what have you, but it's all online, and we're going to be able to provide real savings on anything from lighting fixtures, furniture, pillows, sheets. I mean, you name it, it'd be about 1 million different products you'll be able to apply these save cash credits savings towards. And so that's coming soon. And that's kind of the same way our hotel savings cards work. They come in increments of $1, $2, $3, and $500. And they don't give you a free, our hotel savings cards are good at 1 million hotels worldwide. They don't give you a completely free room, but they buy down the price compared to the Expedia's price lines of the world. And you
Yeah.
save up to the amount of the hotel savings card.
Yeah.
Those were real popular. For example, Roger, here's one way that a lot of our business owners use these in a very simple way. And that's to say, hey, if you book a no obligation Zoom call with our sales team, so let's see if it's a good fit to work together. We're going to reward you with a $200 hotel savings card, good at 1 million hotels worldwide. Whether we do business together or not, we want to reward you for booking the appointment, and more importantly, for showing up on time. So you can kill two birds with one stone, with the incentive being book the appointment, but more importantly, if you show up on time, we're going to reward you so you can get rid of the no-shows by
Yeah.
all of your reminder messaging sequences. Because they don't forget, we're giving you a $200 hotel savings card, good at 1 million hotels, yada yada.
Yeah.
See you on Tuesday at 2:00. Don't forget, and you're rewarding them. Then once you get them on the call, you might use one of the other incentives, like, well, we do have a special this week. If you go ahead and take action and hire us to help you build your website, if you hire us to be your business coach, if you hire us to do whatever it is you do,
Yeah.
we have, we can reward. Or if you pay for 6 months in advance, pay for a year in advance, we'll give you a bonus of 6 days and 5 nights in Cancun, Mexico on us. And then the disclosures are easy. They don't include airfare, they don't include food and beverage, and they don't include taxes. So that's kind of how that works.
Nice. Nice. Where do you see digital marketing going? And I know that's a really broad question, so let me just narrow it just slightly. I have found that because I do a lot of digital marketing with our brands, and I have found that from 2017 to today, the sales resistance, the savviness of the consumer has skyrocketed. Probably because they're being bombarded with sales messages every 5 seconds.
Right.
And so, digital marketing was a lot easier, to be very candid, back in 2017 than it is today. But it's like anything in the world, there will always be winners. There will always be people that figure it out ahead of time and still continue to capitalize and do very well, have a lucrative business. So where do you see what is the next phase of digital marketing versus running Facebook ads or Google PPC or whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's Facebook, Google, PPC, email marketing. I've been doing it hasn't really changed all that much since 1996 when I started. It wasn't Google. That was before Google. We were doing pay-per-click on what was the name of the company back then? It doesn't matter. But the point is, we were doing pay-per-click way back when. We were doing email marketing back when. We started Facebook ads as soon as Facebook was born. And so all of that's going to continue, but it is harder because of the privacy rules. I mean, we used to spend we had spent in 10 years with our travel company, we spent almost $70 million on Facebook alone. And as soon as iOS 14 came out, it quit working.
Yeah.
And, we continued to throw money at them for a long time, trying to figure out how to make it work on Facebook. And it dramatically changed. And then iOS 15, 16, I guess we're all the way up to, I think, 17 now. At the end of the day, we still advertise on Facebook, but it's now not as effective as it used to be when you can't target and remarket to people the way we used to.
Yeah.
And pay-per-click is still very functional, but very expensive. So, your personal marketing, or in my opinion, when you talk about what comes next, I think more and more there needs to be a personality to the brand. There needs to be a personal relationship with your prospects to help convince them to become clients. So it's not as easy as a transaction from a Facebook ad to a purchase. For example, one of the things we do is we promote from a Facebook ad to our Facebook group, where then within our Facebook group we can build a relationship, and we can nurture that prospect into seeing that we're for real and that these are solutions that we provide might work, and let's work together, give it a try, start a free trial, etc. And there's going to be more, ways to do that outside of, I also believe strongly in doing that outside of Facebook, because I don't
Yep.
like Facebook at the same time. They are a million reasons why I don't like them, but at the same time I do. But it's no doubt it's getting harder today. At the same time, it's easier than ever. I mean, you can build a website in seconds compared to what it used to be. You can have a CRM system. You can have the ability to email, text message, voicemail, broadcast. There's CRM systems available that we offer as well. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's much easier than ever to be in business online,
Oh yeah.
but harder to effectively solicit or generate leads and convert those to sales. It's getting, you got to have a real product and deliver on your service,
Yeah.
or you'll be quickly seen as whatever it is you are if you're not delivering quality products and services.
100%. The iOS 14 thing, and for the listeners that are not aware of that, when Apple, and about 70% of America is on an iPhone, if not a little bit more. And so when Apple put in a privacy policy or a privacy change that wouldn't allow marketers to uh, tag, for lack of a better word, and then continue to serve ads to somebody that may be interested in that given product or service, then it became much more like television, where you kind of have to throw it on the wall and hope it sticks and see what works. And so what Mark was talking about is that change with iOS 14 as a digital marketer made it much more expensive, because you couldn't say, hey, you're in the market for a car, you're looking for a family safe sedan, you really want something that is in the top 3 of the Consumer Reports. Like, you can get so granular, and now you can't. And Marco, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. But I think it's just been, this whole privacy thing has been misunderstood by the consumer, because as a consumer, I don't own a dog. Why would I want to get fed dog food ads? Like, why would I be served dog food ad? I'm not going to buy dog food, right? I don't care about dog food. But if I'm in the market for a Jeep, or I don't know, let's call it a Jeep, I want to see everything about Jeeps. I want to see where their specials are. I want to see what the newest model looks like. What are the competitors? Because of course the competitors will use that keyword. And I don't know. I've had so many conversations with people where they'll our privacy is being violated. I'm like, your privacy it's actually customized content. It's just like, it's, instead of an algorithm for social media, it's an algorithm for advertising that better serves you. But man, people lost their minds over some of this retargeting and
Yeah, no,
customization.
of course they look at the marketer, the corporate world is the big bad guys, but nothing happens in this world until somebody buys something. And our economy is wrapped around more than maybe many, or but anywhere in the world, until somebody buys something, then nothing happens, right? The economy is stagnant. And although many of us have this, harms up about salespeople or sales, again, nobody buys anything until they're sold something. And so how do we know what, you need to be? And today there's so many ways to skip through commercials, it's kind of it's definitely challenging for the marketer to get your product or service in front of people that are qualified or interested in seeing it. And I agree with you. It became I get the idea of the privacy on the consumer side as well. But as you point out, if you prior to that, I don't block my and most people have ad blockers and everything else. By the way, if you are an entrepreneur, you should be a student of advertising, of marketing. You shouldn't be the one skipping through every ad, blocking all ads, trying to keep your privacy. You should be wanting to see your competitors' ads, your non-competitors' ads. You should be going through other website sales funnels and seeing if it grabbed your eye, if it attracted you. Go through the process, even buy stuff you don't need or want because they were good at the sales process. And of course, screenshot all of it so that you can go back and figure, wow, they were good at how they presented this. Their copy was excellent. Their images were excellent. They got me to want to, buy their 1995 Tripwire product. But then the next page said, get the upgrade for 187, and you were tempted to do it, and it's like, That's sales and marketing. And you need to know how to do similar or the same. And you can take ideas from an entirely different industry and see this was amazing process that they did, how they hooked me, how they grabbed my attention, how they got me to the website, how they got me to make the first purchase. And so anything you do by screenshot the process is my, suggestion. So you can go over it with your marketing team, or maybe it's just you, but you can go over it and, say, I like these ideas. I could change this, change that. I kind of want to write a book one day, copy
Yeah.
paste your way to success.
That's actually a damn good title. That's a damn good title, Marco.
Right.
If you're listening to this and you are an entrepreneur, or you're thinking about starting a business, or you have a business that you're scaling, he just dropped that is 4 semesters of college right there. I'm telling you, what he just shared with you, you won't learn in college, by the way, but you can learn. You have to be a student of the game. And I, like Marco, I am more interested in the ads I get served than the content that's being served between those ads, because that's how I get better. And same thing, I will see something, it'll catch my eye, and I'll send it to my director of marketing. I'm like, just stop my scroll, man. Figure out why. Break this apart.
Yep.
And you'll find ideas everywhere. I was changing I went to a sauna studio down in Charlotte, and the water filter went red, so I had to change it. I ran down there and was changing it. And there were the instruction sheet. Long story short, the instruction sheet of how to change a water filter gave me an idea on marketing, and I brought it back up to my team and said, "This is silly, but this led me to this thought, and this is what we need to do." And they're like, "Oh my gosh, that makes total sense. That's brilliant." And so the ideas are everywhere, but as you just said, you got to be looking for them. You have to have your eyes open to them, and you can't be a consumer of content without being a consumer of advertising if you're trying to grow your business. Yeah.
And most people would be like, turn off, click away, skip over, and you're missing a learning opportunity from these expert sales and marketing organizations that you could be picking a little bit from here, a little bit from there, and emulating stuff that works. If it got your attention, it's obviously, and if you keep seeing those same ads over and over as you go, that means they're being successful.
It's working. It's working. Yeah.
They wouldn't keep spending the money if it wasn't working. So when we see them over and over and over, that's the one to study.
Yep. Love it. No, perfect. Gold. This segment is sponsored by Beamlight Sauna Franchising. Are you looking to take control of your destiny and own your own business? Do you want a great brand in a rapidly growing market? Well, Beamlight Sauna is a nationwide health and wellness franchise with amazing opportunities in select markets. You can bring the power of infrared sauna and red light therapy to your community while you build a thriving business. Beamlight Sauna offers support that includes site selection, build out, even pre-launch programs and turnkey marketing, so you can open your studio with a large recurring revenue member base. To learn more about business ownership and franchise opportunities in the fast-growing health and wellness space, go to beamlightsauna.com. That's BEEM lightsauna.com, and click on franchise opportunities to learn more. I love to ask really 3 questions at the end of every interview of every guest, same 3 questions. And just the answers are always different, and it just makes for like a rich ending to each interview. First, is there a book? And I love how I was like you. I started to love to learn later in life because there was a purpose behind it. Now I had a reason, like, why am I doing this dumb math problem? It doesn't make any sense. Well, now I understand why algebra actually makes sense, because you can help solve business problems with it and solve for X. But is there a book that you've recently read? Maybe you read it 30 years ago, fiction, nonfiction, doesn't matter, that when you set it down, Marco, you said, oh man, I look at this topic, this, whatever, completely differently now after reading this book. And I'm sure you've read a ton of them, but is there one that you could recommend to the listeners that, they should grab?
Yeah, 2. One to get read. 2 I'm read and rereading right now by Patrick Bet David. Choose Your Enemies Wisely. The book surprised me at how good it is and what it's all about in the end. One, helps you build your business plan properly, but more importantly, the book is how to help you develop your motivation to get to the next level. Um, Even in myself, you get comfortable. I make a lot of money. I'm okay, but so it's easy to get comfortable and be kind of more of want to lay back, delegate more, and do less. And of course, if you want to keep growing as an entrepreneur, which is part of the fun, then you got to have a reason. And so his book, How to Choose Your Enemies Wisely, is to find an enemy that inspires you or motivates you to grow based on, it's kind of hard to explain without reading
Yeah.
the book. But
Yeah.
again, Patrick Bet David, Choose Your Friends Wisely.
Okay.
The other one I recommend for anybody out there looking to build a business, look if you're new online, and it's Alex Harmosi's. He's got 2 books in his series. I love them both. 100 million offers, kind of helps, very strong at helping you not only with his book, but his links to his video content to train you on how to build the perfect offer, to make the offer for your business so good people feel stupid saying no, is what his book is all about. And then he has another book called 100 Million Leads, which is every business needs constant lead flow. So once you know what your product is, what you develop and design your product with Alex's help, then it's you need lead flow. And how are you going to generate leads? And if you mix Alex Harmosi's offer with leads and Marketing Boost on how to integrate the incentives, you got a home run. So
You got a home run. No, I love it. I've read both of Hormozzi's, but I actually used to be, because I'm in the fitness business, in his mastermind. Used to pay $40,000 a year to be in his we called it Gym Lords. Just amazing. I've learned so much from that man around marketing and persuasion and offer creation and all that. Like you're right, spot on. 2 great recommendations. I've read Patrick Bet-David's first book, Your Next 5 Moves, and I've seen him promoting this one, and I was like, I don't know. But you've inspired me. Like, I'm going to go order that book. I'm going to go order Choose Your Enemies Wisely, because I really like him. I love how he takes a stance, doesn't back down from it. And he is one driven, motivated dude that's all self-made, all self-made.
Yeah, he's one of the few. I have my own podcast show, etc., and I would love to emulate him and copy paste his routine.
Exactly. You've got your book. You've got your book title. Now you just have to write it.
Yeah.
So, Marco, the last 2 questions. One, and this isn't meant to be dark by any means, but if we fast forward to the end of your life and you've lived this rich life, been very successful, but the day has come and we're at your funeral, and you're looking down from above, and there's a loved one reading your eulogy, but he or she could only use 3 words as descriptive, 3 descriptive words to describe you and the impact you had on them or everyone at the service and the people in your life. So the real question is, what 3 words do you hope that person says when they're describing you?
I've never thought about this, but deep question. I appreciate it. And I don't know what 3 words would be best, but at the end of the day, I hope it would be something along the lines of, he helped others. For example, I don't like to just give to different. I do support a number of nonprofits, but it's not my favorite way to be a philanthropist. It's I never know where the money is often going, whose salaries it's paying for versus so I don't want to discourage anybody from giving to nonprofits. I think you should. But what I enjoy, not only with my company Marketing Boost, for example, reaching back and helping others solve problems and be successful and grow their business so they can either support their family, drop their day job, keep their entrepreneur business going, and encourage others to keep growing this entrepreneurial road, which is not easy. But I also I've helped certain individuals and invest in their business and rather than, like I said, give with the hope that, okay, it'll be a return, it's an investment in risk. And
Yep.
I like helping, individuals get business started. And so I have helped people do that. And that's what I hope, sticks with some. He helped others. So.
Love it. And then last question before, because I definitely want to find out how people can get a hold of you, but last question before that, if I were to give you a magic wand, and we're recording this in 2024, world's a little crazy right now. if I were to give you a magic wand, and Marco, you could wave that magic wand and make one significant change to the world, the little way the people are, the way the world works, whatever. And I gave you this magic wand and you waved it tonight. When we woke up in the morning, how would the world be different according to Marco?
This is probably going to come across to many as a controversial, offensive, whatever, but I wish we could wave the magic wand and get rid of wokeness, some of the crazy ideology on the left of transgenderology, yada, yada, yada. I think this world is, we're confusing our children in crazy, evil ways. And so the heck
Yeah.
with what many people think. That would be my wish, to wave the magic wand and get rid of some of that. So,
Well, I appreciate you speaking your honest heart, because so many people won't say anything today, for fear of being canceled or feel, whatever. And I think it's important, no matter what people believe, to be able to say it emphatically. And I mean, that's isn't that the First Amendment? I think I'm pretty sure, that I'm pretty sure that was the first on the docket that we're
it
allowed
used to
to.
mean something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I hear you loud and clearly, because that is our greatest freedom in this country, and it's starting to be tattered at the edges now. Starting to be
Yeah, and
tattered at
like
the edges.
you, well, let me clarify what I
Yeah,
said. I'm not against anybody doing whatever they want to do. Um, you want to, you want to be a guy and wear dresses, go ahead. You want to, everybody can do whatever the heck you want. You want to marry your same sex, do that too. I don't care. But to force it on the rest of us in the form of the woke ideology, almost like a religion that the world has to accept and honor. And I just saw, maybe I shouldn't do this on your show, but
no, I don't care.
you
Yeah.
know the I just saw, like, on, what was it, Easter Sunday, it was, the White House was celebrating uh transgender awareness day or something along those lines. I mean, like, this is just crazy. It's not
Yeah.
needed to be pushed down our throats, that's for sure.
Now I think there's a lot of people like you and me where I truly, consenting adults, it is your right. I believe it is your right. Do whatever you want to do, as long as it's victimless. Do whatever you want to do. Just don't take my money, and don't ask me to believe what you believe, right? Don't tax me, and don't ask me to believe what you believe, but knock yourself out. And I think there's I think there's a middle, this is probably the most political I've ever gotten on this show. And in fact, it is. But I just believe that, Marco, there's this big swath of people in the middle that are just normal, hardworking, everyday people that just want somebody rational to come to the middle and say, hey, you know what? We're going to lower your taxes because it is getting a little crazy. We're also going to have to cut some spending, which may affect some people. But, if you got some crazy right-wing ideas, you can't enforce those on, like, people get their rights. They get to do what they want to do. I don't know how that person doesn't come forward and doesn't win by a landslide, except for the fact that the two parties have vested interest in making sure that never happens,
Yeah, it's a weird situation we're in. You're right. And
Yeah.
and sorry to make the show political, but when you asked for the magic wand,
No,
I went down
hey,
that road.
you know what? We need to
And
talk.
yeah, I guess it's freedom is freedom, right? We all, again, I'm like, to do whatever you want, but what I don't like is, the DEI kind of thing, where it's like, okay, well, now we need to make sure we got equal outcome and I'm a Hispanic, and I could, I did have the victim mentality when, back in 2008, 2009, when I lost everything. I started to feel like, take on the wall. Maybe it's because I'm Latino. Maybe
Yeah.
it's because I'm Latino that I can't get hired back and do another job. That's why I was going through all of this, until I remembered, hey, I live in America. We're the land of the free, the home, the land of the American dream. I
Yep.
know how to make money, and I can do it again and get my mindset right, get back into reading books and watching the right, feeding my mind properly. And again, anybody listening out here, if you're not feeding your mind properly, if you're not educating yourself, if you're not reading what you need to read to get your mindset right, you'll never be successful, if any impact on your job and or especially as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You've got to have, as an entrepreneur, there's nobody, look on my desk, I've got a little bell here. There's nobody going to pat my back around here as an entrepreneur. So I ring my own bell. When I have small successes during the day, when I check off to-do list items, I'm ringing my own bell because there ain't nobody else going to do it. So you've got to find ways to motivate yourself, reward yourself, bonus yourself, take care of to keep that drive that you need to stay successful especially as an entrepreneur. But anyway.
Yeah. Marco's public service announcement to the entrepreneurs of the world. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to save you. So don't wait. Hey, most importantly, Marco, how can obviously marketingboost.com, they can find you there. Where else could they follow you or find you if they wanted to?
We do have our own podcast as well at marketingboostsolutions.com.
Okay.
So, and similar to you, we like to encourage entrepreneur growth, and we invite experts to talk about business, or marketingboostsolutions.com. From there, there's links to join our Facebook group with over 30,000 entrepreneurs that are in our Facebook group, that we're a community to help others succeed. And of course, marketingboost.com as well. And we even have for your listeners, if you go to marketingboostsolutions.com and click on the Marketing Boost link, you can get to a freemium version of Marketing Boost, no credit card required, and you can have access to some of our incentives, not everything, but you'll be able to try it out without even putting in a credit card, zero risk.
That's great. Thank you for offering that. Well, Juan, I really appreciate you coming on the show. But again, I want to double down on. I also appreciate you just speaking your mind and being an authentic person. We need more of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the ThriveMore podcast. Don't forget to take a look at the show notes for any of the resources that we mentioned during the podcast. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you have access to the latest and the greatest. You can connect with me on any of the socials at Real Roger Martin. And be sure to check out our website, ThriveMoreBrands.com. There you'll find information on the brands we support and information on franchising. Thanks again for tuning in.